And I think we have a really good thing here. So we've got three different people who are co-hosting these workshops. Got myself, I'm a fractional marketing person. I have been for 12 years, freelance. I've worked with a lot of different startup tech companies to either raise money or do kind of one-off marketing jobs. I helped to co-found Groundswell, this place, 10 years ago with an amazing team who you probably have all met. And Megan over here with Swift Pause is my best friend from college. She brought me here on spring break and I stayed. I'm from Indiana. I never saw the ocean before. And this place rocks because it's filled with people who have a lot of, they have like a really big heart for what they do. And whatever it is, it's usually very specific and niche, and they're just going for it. And that's the type of people that we have in the room tonight. And I want to take just a second to introduce all the different co-hosts, because what you're going to experience in each workshop, each one builds on its last version. But what you're experiencing is a bunch of marketing people who've distilled all the stuff that actually matters into a few sessions. So that's the value of attending. In addition, you're surrounded by people who are just like you. And so you're walking away with people who are going to go make it happen and can support one another along the way. So Matt, would you mind introducing yourself? And then Stephen, I'll have you introduce yourself.
Hello. I think I saw most of you last week. My name is Matt Mayer. I am a brand designer, graphic designer, artist. I've been running my own sort of design studio for the past 5 years. And before that, I've worked for areas in hospitality, government, medical, etc. Just a wide range of marketing from a design perspective towards all these things. But my background is in fine arts. I was originally a painter, so I feel that I bring that sort of mentality to a lot of the design that I do. That's mostly the gist of it.
So hi, I'm Steven Sopko. My background is I exited my startup about a year and a half ago. Before that, I was at Oracle for a number of years, and then a long time before that at Dell. So my background is more in sales than in marketing, particularly sales for very small companies selling to very big companies. So that's what I do for a number of companies here at Groundswell. And in weeks 3 and 4, we're going to start to move from the how do you market into how do you, tonight we're going to do a lot of work on how do you identify your customers. And then we'll use that next week to how do you get inside their heads. And then finally in week 4, how do you present your expertise to them to start building trust before they even know who you are. So that's what we're going to be working on.
Great. And today is live demo night. So we're actually going to walk through a live demo with one company in the room. And we're going to go through what's in front of you is literally the demo. It's a very overwhelming worksheet that is full of max concentration items that are really helpful to achieve our last session, the objective that we want to hit for 2026. So anytime we're looking at what our goal is, we want to understand who are the people we're trying to reach? What problems do they have? How do they make decisions? Get in their head, as Stephen said. Great. I wanted to walk through a case study. Last year, October, I had a group reach out and they just wanted marketing. They just want to exist online. You know what I mean? And that's most people, right? So what we did was, it was an investment group. So that's a complicated sale, right? Oh, how do you get someone to trust you really quickly when you're running a brand new fund? Nobody knows who you are. You don't have a website. So sometimes the budget is really limited too, even though they are big money people. Big money people don't like to spend money, right? So it's very frustrating. So what we did was some basic market research. I interviewed the 12 people who invested in the fund and I asked them, why did you put your money in here? And they all said the same thing. And I asked permission. I recorded all of their interviews and I stacked them up. They all said they just really like the guy that runs the fund. He's smart, he's young, he's hungry, and he thinks about risk in a really cool way. They like that he was taking big risks in sports and thinking about how do you own the AI, how do you own the data center underneath the stadium, and how do you own the team on top of it, right? So they could take a piece of dirt, buy the dirt and then layer on all these value props that would maximize their returns. But when we think about why do you put your money where you put it, we began to understand that our actual need was to build trust with our audience as quickly as possible. And instead of focusing on what they do or what investments they make, we focused on why they do what they do. And it became a relational podcast. So I share this because not everybody in this room needs a podcast. That is not what I'm recommending. Please don't do that. But when you do some basic research and ask your customers what they really need, it may surprise you, right? Because you would think an investment group would need something a little cold, a little sterile, a little black and white numbers based. But in this case, they were looking for a heartbeat. So in these interviews, and they really talked about things that brought them together. I mean, one of the episodes, they talked about Pop-Tarts in the middle. They talked about their kids, and you were meeting these people and you just wanted to be with them, right? They did talk about returns. They did talk about money, but that was sort of not the focus. So anyways, what happened after episode 2 was they called me. I was driving my daughter to school. I pressed publish on the podcast at 8 a.m. At 8:30 a.m., the CEO, Marley, he calls me. He said, do you have time to talk? And they're like, hey, we're just going to merge our whole team. Is that okay? I'm like, sure. Yeah, go ahead and merge them. And in the background, you hear people like high-fiving and cheersing in the background because they got an investment from the Tampa Bay Rays. They said, we had been trying to get in front of them for 2 years. And you released the second podcast. We just put it through Substack, 0 ad spent. We spent 0 money on this and got a really cool win. So then this is just the power of doing basic market research, experimenting, knowing that you might fail, right? That's a huge risk to hire somebody. They didn't really know me. They heard of me word of mouth, but to have these wins gave them the traction they needed. When they brought me in, they're like, we might do data centers only. We might do AI. We want to be diversified, but taking risks and figuring out where you need to go and what your market needs is key here for every business that's in the room, including you, Nizelle. All right, next slide. Sorry. All right, just highlighting here, we had 0 in paid ad spend. They did have they hired a marketing team of 1, but really no spend. All right, so this is where we want to be by the end of today. We want to know these things. Where are my people? How do they find me? How do they make decisions? What considerations are they juggling in their mind, right? What are those 6 things that come up as a repeated pattern or theme for the people that may buy my product? And then also, when they buy my product, they also tend to buy these things. It's good to know those are who your partners may be, who the other stakeholders may be. And if it's not me, more than my competitors, they may resort to, in my case, sometimes I'll speak with someone and, they may just choose to go all AI on it, right? So in my case, if they don't work with me, they'll work with chat. All right. So next slide. And how to build trust fast. I know the people who are most motivated to buy who also have money. That's tier 1. That people who have money and they're motivated to buy right now. I know how to make decisions. I know they're non-negotiables. We're going to dig into this with a live demo. We have selected We Little Warriors prior to this. Andrea has volunteered her business. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through this worksheet using Andrea's company, but everyone should be thinking about their own companies and their own use case and application for this while we're doing the session. So as Andrea shares the nuances of her business, be thinking about, oh, this is how that applies to me. This is how this really fundamentally doesn't apply to me. But be filling out the worksheet in front of you as we go.
Obviously, this is a rapid situation, so it's not necessarily reflective of we had a working relationship and we were going with a project, but I'm going to sort of distill everything that you're telling me about your business, or telling her. I'm going to eavesdrop and sort of put together a conceptual sort of mood board based on that information. So a little bit of the messaging, a little bit of the visuals that might reflect some of the messaging, and just some basic bare bones concepts to look at something tangible that you can be like, okay, well, that's I can see my brand now. Maybe it's wrong, and you can tell me that, and that's part of the process too. But I'm just gonna kind of like rapidly try to iterate something for you in the meantime. Okay.
Can you kind of introduce the business, when you got started and where you're at now? And
Hi, everybody. I'm Andrea. If you weren't here last week, I own We Warriors Fun and Fitness. Right now, I'm based out of Melbourne. I started in January of last year, so it's been a year and 9 months. I started my business at a very small martial arts gym. An opportunity was given to me to use hours that they don't use their gym. And right away, I knew exactly what I wanted to do, which essentially was to create a space for children 4 and under that is focused on active play and child led play. And it's grown so tremendously. I honestly had no clue. I thought it was going to be a really quick thing, another little quick business that just kind of, you know, makes the bills for the couple months. But it turned out the community needed this program more than I ever imagined. And now I'm at a much bigger space. And I've been there now for a year, but I'm actually at a problem where I have to go around their schedule. They do jujitsu. And so pretty much anytime they have a class, I can't use the gym. So I'm very limited. I actually only am at the gym for, and this is including my setup and my breakdown and my cleanup. But and then when people are in there, I'm actually only there for 15 hours a week. But with that being said, I have done extremely well in the 15 hours a week that I'm there. I'm maxed out. I'm booked. It's packed every single day that I'm in there, which is a great problem. It's just a problem that I'm not sure what to do now because I absolutely need my own space. And that is where I am at right now. I'm here to see how I can get my own space, what the options are, whether that's an investor or a loan or a grant or somebody who just loves my personality and my heartbeat, like we spoke about earlier. um, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. Answer. No, it's not a drop off program. So it's actually a very I actually encourage parents, guardians, grandparents to come on the mat and play with their children. So there's a lot of businesses around here, and especially in Orlando, that it's you go in and you sit down and you can play on your phone or whatever while the kids are playing, and those type of areas are it's like imaginary play with like toys and dress up clothes and little, there's a guest or a hospital over here, and it's imaginary, it's cute, but it's what I'm going for is very unique and different than that. But yeah, no, it's not drop off, not yet, not yet. I do envision an aftercare program if I ever have my own space, so yeah.
so we are going to go through these rapid fire. And actually, all right. So, what specific problem or pain do I solve is our first question. And it sounds like different groups purchase this, mothers, grandparents. So, what specific pain?
The pain obviously right now is trying to figure out my next step on how I can grow and be able to give the community what they want, because right now it's getting so busy that it's almost impacting it in a negative way, because they're going to leave if it's too busy, if it's too crowded. And that's a problem.
I'm going to have you hold the mic a little closer. And this time we're going to get inside your customer's head. So think in your mind that repeat customer. Like you've had someone come in, they're loyal, they're going to keep coming back. Probably if you raised your prices a couple times, they'd still be there. What specific problem do I solve for that type of person?
Actually, I've already done this once. I've raised my prices one time, and I initially grandfathered in those who were there with me from the very beginning to my original prices. I actually raised them again for a second time, and I had to stop the grandfathering in process for my own, business related issues. I have to pay the bills still. So I did start with grandfathering those people in, and it kept them. And now that I've raised my prices again, those people they're not going anywhere. I have had people from the very, very beginning that are still with me, and they're popping out more babies, and it's,
And what problem are you solving for them?
I'm giving them an indoor because we're in Florida. That's probably the number one compliment I get, is that it's indoor, it's air conditioned, it's clean. The floors are sanitized multiple times a day, because it's a martial arts gym, but I would do that obviously if I had my own space too. It's different than going into a gymnastics gym where it's carpet and you can't really sanitize things as easily. Um, I think for crawlers and infants, the biggest thing that a new mom or any guardian wants is cleanliness, and they want to know that their child is safe, and also safe. And the gym that I'm in now is very safe. And if their kid runs around the corner, nothing's going to happen to them. They know that the doors are locked, and everything is set up for them. Everything is soft play. Everything is nothing can cause injury. I'm not going to say nothing because obviously accidents happen. Knock on wood, we're not there. I do have insurance.
And you're curating a play experience, like you're creating activity. So why is that important to people? What problem do they think that they have where they're like, I need to go and purchase We Warriors right now?
Well, for one, after COVID, we lost probably 90% of our indoor play facilities. There's really only, I could list maybe 3 or 4 off the top of my head in Melbourne or in Brevard County, actually. I have people that drive all the way from St. Cloud, from Harmony, from Titusville, just to my program because there's nothing near them. And, it's just so different. What was the question again?
No, that's great. That's perfect. So who cares about this problem the most? And when I'm asking that, who pulls out the checkbook and pays for this?
That's going to be the guardians, obviously the parents, whether that's grandparents or the parents alone. I also, partner with a couple places that do child development, and they bring in, they have special days a month that they come in and do days for kids with disabilities.
So that's early step.
Early steps.
You want to list them out?
Early Steps is one of them. Community Pathways, I'm also partnered with. And I'm partnered with Brevard County Foster and Adoption Agency as well.
Awesome. And so what do these stakeholders value the most? Is it there are very few indoor places, so they need this?
I would say the indoor part, definitely. I would say the judge-free zone,
And why is that important?
a lot of places that I've noticed as a parent, I have 2 older kids. I used to go to a lot of the indoor places before COVID. I always kind of felt sometimes there was judgment from other parents and even from the owners. And that's one thing that I have been extremely careful with my company. I want everybody to come in and feel comfortable. Their kids are learning. It's all about their children learning. The little ones have to learn to interact with the older ones. The older ones have to learn to interact with little ones. And you have to teach them that. And there's no way you're going to be able to do that unless you bring them to a place to learn. And so a lot of parents feel judged if their kid runs and knocks over somebody else's tower. The only way you're going to be judged is if you're not stepping in and teaching them. But I get on the mat and I actually physically encourage parents. This is how we're going to share. And I use my own knowledge to try to help the parents and make them feel comfortable. I've actually had multiple parents crying on several occasions because they were so overwhelmed. They had multiple kids. I have parents with twins, etc. And I've actually gone up to them and given them a hug and said, look, this is not the place where you're going to be judged. This is where everybody's here to learn. As a parent, you're here to learn how to bond with your child. As a child, you're here to learn how to socialize with other children. And there's just not very many places that before pre-K that they get that opportunity, especially in our area.
Got it. So if I understand correctly, it's sort of like the soft social skills that you otherwise wouldn't have.
Yeah. So it's active play based because, especially nowadays, everybody's on tablets. Everybody's on their technology. They want to give their kid their tablet and that, be done. And that's really sad because I see a lot of posts about kids going into kindergarten and their teachers are posting, they're coming to kindergarten not knowing how to unzip their lunchbox or just the very most basic tasks. And so I'm trying to intervene in a way and get parents more hands-on with their kids so that they can learn those tasks before it's, before it's kind of too late. Absolutely. Mhm. Yeah, so it actually works out right now for both the martial arts studio I'm at and my program. I bring in so many people into their building that normally wouldn't come in there, and they recently started a little rollers program for 3 and 4 year olds. So my program essentially leads into their little rollers program. So it's helping them. I'm not teaching them martial arts. I'm teaching them. So I have a 2 to 4 year old class as well, and that's an instructor led class. That's once a week, and so basically it's an introduction to structure, and that is essentially like the first step to, hey, I'm supposed to listen, and then from there you can go into jujitsu, and then it's a much more structured and let's stay in a line type of thing. So it's just a good stepping stone to the next step for the children's physical skills and social skills. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So when we think about what do these stakeholders value the most, why do they buy? Very few indoor places exist right now. And then it's a judgment free zone. Are those the two strongest?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I definitely also would say I have a lot of grandparents that come in, and I get the most compliments from grandparents because nobody's going to go to a park. No grandparent is going to go to a park in Florida where there's no shade, So I get a lot of full on families. There'll be 5 adults to one child sometimes, and I love that. It does something to my heart when I see a child come in with 5 adults. I don't charge the adults because you're here to play with your kids, to teach them, and I think that's so important.
So if they're not with you, where are they getting their solution today?
Online, tablets, phones, they're being handed things. Yeah. They go to parks and die of the heat. And honestly, I get a lot of people just saying, I don't know what I would do without your program.
And you are ages 0 to 4.
Currently, yes.
0 to 4 right now. And do you have an idea of how many potential customers you have in this county?
Potential as in like that I've already come
Parents,
in,
yeah.
or potential as
Oh no,
in
yeah, parents, like
future.
total families in Brevard County.
I have not done that research yet. That is definitely a good question. I will say every single day that I have an open mat, which is where parents can come in and play, everything's set up. Every single day I have a minimum of 5 new families that fill out waivers every single day. So, and then I have my regulars on top of that. So I mean, like I said, kids are being popped out every second and they're finding me.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Is this a one? Go ahead.
He said I have the best kind of problem there is.
Yeah. So is this a one-time solution or is it reoccurring? Do people tend to come and go, or do they stay members? Or
Well, I have a punch card system, and I actually keep the punch cards so that nobody has to worry about having them. Because when I first started, they would lose them, or dad would bring them, or mom would bring them. And so I actually started keeping the punch cards. And so I've actually been able to keep pretty good track of who comes back. Because once you fill out a punch card, you've been there 10 times, you get a free open mat. And I've had so many punch cards filled out. I keep them all. So I have a stack and I know how many people have used. And then I have different punch cards from different seasons of my journey. And I can see how many like I have left from the very beginning. And I don't have very many left. So people have come back and keep coming back. And my punch card system, I would say, is the number one way I know that, but I also have made relationships with every single child that comes through that door. I actually had a play date with one woman this morning who comes to my program and walked in, and there were 4 of my We Warrior children in this program. It was at a dance studio, and they're everywhere. So yeah, I love it.
and what makes your solution a need to have? instead of a nice to have?
Oh, well, parking. I'm already having issues with parking. Hours, I don't have any. I cannot I'm at a financial plateau. I cannot make any more money to give the community what they need unless I have the space and the hours to do it. And unfortunately, as much as I love where I am right now, I can't get the extra hours. And unless I have extra hours, there's no way I can add in extra classes. And I have full intentions on, if I have my own place, on adding classes. So, children yoga classes, fitness classes for moms, and gymnastics, and just all active play classes. But I can't add a single other class right now. There's just, they don't have time at the gym, and I'm stuck.
Right.
I'm maxed completely out, which, like you said, is a good problem, but it's also scary because I don't want people to stop coming because it gets too crowded, and I can't do anything about it. And I also don't want someone who has money to beat me to it because this hasn't been done before.
That won't happen. So what makes this a need to have rather than a nice to have for specifically the person that's driving all the way from Titusville? They're making that commute. What makes your service a need to have for people who are driving really far away? They just have to have it.
I definitely think a lot of people say the socialization skills. Again, there's not so many places that you can go where your kid will meet the same people over and over, especially. So if you go to a park, yeah, you might be able to play with some kids, but what's the chance you're going to run into them next week? So this is actually a community that I'm trying to build. And my Facebook page actually has a group connected to it that's called We Warriors Mama Village. And I created that so for people who come into the gym and they meet people, but let's say they didn't exchange numbers, they can go onto that group and they can find their village. And I just think that's amazing. And I've seen so many people creating their own villages. And I just, it's my favorite part. I love it. I see I'm friends with so many of my clients on Facebook now because we've become friends and we've built relationships. And I see all these little, I don't want to say cliques, but little groups of We Warriors babies and moms who have found each other, but through We Warriors. And you just can't get that anywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
you just can't.
And
how many, anyway?
Yeah. How many families have you served?
That's a good question. I don't think I have an answer for that. I have punch cards and I've got 2 Rolexes that are about a foot long and they are full.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, full. And that's per child. So the Rolexes are, I guess, about this long. I think that's what they're called. Rolex. Is that wrong? Rolodex. Rolexes are watch. I'm sorry. A Rolodex. So I have 2 big Rolodexes with the punch cards, and they're both completely full. So I actually don't have a number to give you, but a lot.
And if there was like a poster child for We Warriors, a student that you had who had like a fundamental like shift in their life because of We Little Warriors, what would that be?
I actually have a handful of children I can use as examples for that. But I have one boy specifically who started coming at the very, very beginning, just to the open mats. And then when I started doing the 2 to 4-year-old instructor-led class, his mom brought him to that. He sat on his mom's lap and cried every single time. She continued to bring him. She was very consistent. This is good on the mom as well, not just my program, but for her to stay consistent. But she kept coming. And no matter what, he kept sticking to her and was crying. And I slowly made a relationship with him in different ways. I asked the mom, what is he like? He likes balls. Okay, next week we're gonna do something that's all ball related. And so I did that. And a few months later, he started coming out a little bit more, and now today he's incredible. He is incredible. He has a little brother now who's doing the same thing as him, and he comes up and runs in now. He throws his shoes off, and he's a whole different kid. And I've got so many kids like that. I could list off.
So what's another way to put that into words? Is like it's almost like you unlock their social potential, or you kind of.
I think building a relationship helps, not just with me, but they have to build a relationship with the gym, the equipment, the kids that are coming in there, the parents. But then I have these programs too that also come in and they'll do evaluations on children if their parents want them to, and they can get involved in those things as well. But I have kids that don't have any issues as well, who are just shy kids and they've done the same thing. And oh man, I have one girl. Her name is Romina. I don't want to say I have a favorite, because my daughter goes there too, so she wouldn't be happy to hear this. Um, but she, oh, sorry, Charlie, I love you. My daughter's 3 as well, but when you're the teacher, it's different, So, no, with this girl in particular, she was never shy or anything, but she came in and she came in with a force, and she was kind of the leader of all my classes. And it's monkey see, monkey do at my classes. They might not try something at the gym because they're shy, but when they get home, they're gonna try it. So they're gonna jump on your bed when you get home, mom. Like, I'm sorry. But this one little girl, she actually just got so strong and so confident through my classes that she wasn't even 4 yet, but she was ready to move on to the next thing. So she actually did start doing the little rollers jiu-jitsu class, and she's incredible already. So it was bittersweet to see her graduate in essentially my program and move on to the next best thing for her.
So they have confidence, they have balance, like the outcome, the ultimate outcome that they have is they have strength, balance, and confidence.
Confidence, especially, yes. I'm very big on affirmations. So during my open mat, during classes, I go up to children and, if they're looking scared, like they're going to try to jump off something, we talk through it. Like, you're strong, you're brave. And I'm very big. I play affirmation music even. I don't want to say this out loud, but Snoop Dogg has a children's, what's it called? Music platform. It's called Doggyland, and it's all children's music, but it's like rap, but it's affirmations, and we play that. And I have found all sorts of different music like that. And anyway, so that sets the mood and it helps too. But I think affirmations are really important, so I use that in my I don't want to say training because I'm not training the children, but in my activities with them.
Great. And your background, what is it about your background that helps to position you as an expert in your field?
I definitely wouldn't call myself an expert. I'm always learning, always learning. My background is in science. I went to Florida State University. I graduated with a bachelor's in science. My focus was on physiology, so moving the body. I was a personal trainer for many years, and then I kind of did a lot of other things. After that, I actually have a chronic illness, and that changed the trajectory of my life traumatically at one point. And when I started healing, I got back into fitness, and then I had kids, and my kids were my drive. And I forgot the question. Oh, yeah. So I'm not an expert, but I do love learning and I love research, and I'm always willing to take the next class or certification or bring people in who are willing to teach me more about children, like ABA classes or courses. And I just think I'm very naturally good with children. I love kids, and I would take them all. I thought owning this business would actually be birth control for me, but it has completely done the opposite. So
great. And you are an expert.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
I just think patience also. A lot of parents lack patience. And so, it's like the dog whisperer. Is the dog whisperer teaching the dog, or is the dog whisperer teaching the dog parents? I kind of look at it like that. Sometimes I'm not saying parents need to be taught or I need to tell them how to parent, because I'm not going to tell you how to parent. But sometimes they just need a little bit of guidance, and I need guidance too. I'm fully open to, hey, I don't think that's right. I'm very big on constructive criticism. I'm going to take that and I'm going to hear it. And I'll go up to parents and say the same thing. Like, there's nothing negative, like try this, and if they don't want to, they don't have to. But I like being able to try to help if I can. I do it in real life too. If I'm at the grocery store, and I try not to intervene, but it's just natural in me to want to help and to play. I really like to play with the kids.
Awesome. And when we look at question 11, and we have 11 more minutes here, so I am going to go a bit faster, but Number 11, what is your believable, repeatable solution to the industry pain? The pain is people don't have anywhere to go. People need a judgment-free zone, and they need the kind of social attunement for their kids that they may not be getting. So the repeatable solution to that is regular access to the We Warriors gym.
Yes, ma'am. And added hours, classes, different options outside of just free play. Maybe some more structured classes as well.
Awesome. We have question 12 here. Is it repeatable and scalable? We know that it's definitely something you can repeat somewhere else. Scalable is a big question here. Have you thought about the potential to do online educational classes that people take home with them?
I have not.
Okay, as like a member, you get the access to the videos.
I love that idea, and I have not thought of that.
We get a little bit of scalability when we do stuff online.
Yeah, I love that.
Do people already believe your claims? When they walk in, are they already aware?
Oh yes, you always know someone's new when they walk in. They walk in, and the eyes on the kids, and even the parents, and some of them will have their cameras out, like whoa, what is like, yeah, it's fun to see those reactions.
So they already know the value before they arrive.
Yes, I think so. I think when they arrive, I think it surprises them a little bit more than what they see online. I think.
What are they surprised by?
I would say the size. It's a pretty big place, which is one of my worries to get my own space. I think it's about 5,000 square feet inside. The mat space itself probably is maybe 3,000 square feet or so. But the size and just how much equipment I have, I started with like 6 pieces of equipment, and I don't even know how much I have right now, but I take it out every single day. So I should know how much equipment out because I literally physically move it every single day. But it's just a lot of equipment. And I think they also like that I never have anything set up in the same spot. It's different every single time they come in. So they're navigating a whole new space every single time they come in. And then also when the crawlers, sorry, I'm not on the mic, when the crawlers become walkers, it then also becomes a brand new space for them. And I have a separate gated off area for children that are fragile walkers or crawlers. They don't have to stay in there, but the toddlers or the older kids aren't allowed in there. So I give an extra space for the ones that are nervous for the bigger kids too.
And people believe in your ability to execute. What do you think convinces them that you're the one? Why do they choose you over, I hate to mention it, but like the tumbleweeds of the world or, any other gymnastics or ballet class?
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I am very friendly. I think my personality is a huge factor. I think when people walk in the door, I am greeting every child by their name if I know it, or mom and dad. I am out on the mat playing with the kids, which is not advertised. I don't advertise that I do that. I do that because I want to make that relationship. And, in the future, can I do that every single time if I have my own space? Probably not. But, there's other people with that same passion for kids that I can bring in that can do that. I definitely lost my train of thought.
No, this is great. So we hit up some deep stuff on the business model side and where you're at and how you scale and the results that you offer people. And then we did get into the customer's head quite a bit. Why are they there? Why do they come back? Why do they drive from Titusville? So this is a really great start. We've not answered everything here. We're going to do that in the breakout sessions next. I want to make sure that we have time here for Matt to share how it is that we dove into these questions and then can get specific about the story that the brand needs to tell. All right. Some questions that we're going to do in the breakout groups include how noisy is your market? What's your unfair advantage in this space? More than you being friendly. There's something there that, just those little nuances, like the real specific reason that people keep coming back.
I think the uniqueness I get is probably the number one. Well, my friendliness too, but I think the uniqueness of what I'm doing versus just the play is a huge driving factor of people coming back.
Awesome.
And my prices are pretty good, especially with large families.
Larger families.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Great. And then you'll see there's activity 4 here on the back. And in this, we're looking for the target niche audiences. So this could be people who are enrolled in early steps, people who may have children with disabilities, people who are homeschool families. You can start to create these different target demographic groups, and that's going to help us advertise, get in front of the right people, and understand who's not a fit, because not every family is going to be a fit. And the more and more we refine that, it's like chiseling the statue of David. You just like the best fit audience is in there. And then the last step here would be to take those 2 audience of the 12 that are mapped out, and then really think about what's their popular pain point, who's the person that makes the decisions, and then what is the differentiator in the results and the social proof behind that. So, Matt, what do you have here for us?
All right. Be easy on me.
Okay.
All right. So I went ahead and is it gonna work? There it is. All right. I went ahead and
Warriors. There's no little, but that's okay.
oh,
It's okay.
okay. Well, we're gonna ignore that part. Yeah. Okay. My bad. So just ignore that factor. So obviously this is kind of a simplified sort of off the cuff. I got to make an icon mark in like 20 minutes. What am I thinking? So playing off the concept of sort of an infant and then this concept of warriors and how to take something that's hard edged and soft edged and make them meld into one. So I went ahead and went with a classic sort of symmetrical shield. And soften the edges of the shield, and as opposed to doing sort of like how you would normally see it, where it's much more pointed and jagged and geometric, to sort of play with the idea that this is soft play. And then we did sort of a rounded, softer font to complement that, and then I did this nice little periwinkle color, which I think is cool and neutral and playful and sort of leans into the pastels that you would normally associate with this demographic. Speaking to, it's a little bit of a delay. The vision and the mission, I kind of put these paragraphs together just based on the conversations that we were having. So I'll go ahead and read those. Your vision statement, we envision a community where every child has the opportunity to thrive through play, and every parent feels empowered to connect, support, and celebrate their child's milestones. As we grow into a dedicated space of our own, we will continue to champion playful movement, social development, and emotional connection without screens, judgment, or barriers. And then the mission statement is, what it is you want to accomplish. At We Little Warriors, we create a safe, nurturing, and judgment-free space where children ages 4 and under can explore, move, and grow through active child-led play. Our mission is to foster confidence, connection, and joy by encouraging parents and caregivers to join their little ones on the mat, building stronger bonds and brighter beginnings together. So, oh. And then we have sort of your demographics here for brand positioning. So for children, you're offering the chance to learn, socialize, grow at a safe, playful environment. For parents, the opportunity to bond with their child and connect with other families and be a part of a supportive community. And then for the community itself, we have an expert resource offering clean, accessible indoor playtime that grows with the family's needs. So just touching on all the things that you mentioned and distilling it into something language-wise. And then I went ahead and threw together like a couple mock-ups of just how this brand could look, what the colors I feel like would work associated with each other. So I left with the pastels, but have like a rich green because I feel like that has sort of an academic feel to it, and we are talking about child education in a sense. So violet, creativity, green for sort of learning, and then these sort of soft blues and a nice orange just to add some warmth in there. And that was kind of the vision that came all together from that conversation. I came up with 2 little taglines. One of them is little steps, big victories. I know it's not all about crawling to walking, but I wanted to play off of the sense of like a warrior accomplishing or championing something. So playing with victories. And then the more conventional one, play together, grow together, which speaks more to the family relationship with their kids. And so, yeah, that's kind of a really rapid example of like how we can take your story that you just told us and make it visual and tangible. Yeah.
Thank you for all the work you put into all this.